Hey, I'm back with another Kill a Pad project, or project share. I don't even have the cover to show you because I used it in this project, or in these projects, so I'll have to show you a picture of it because I did luckily take a picture of the before I got into it. I'm got these in order from the size paper that I used all the way down to like the scraps. So that's kind of how my thought process goes. I use my biggest sheets. Also, the pad that I used is extremely old, and I'm not even sure that I even have a date for it. Let me see if it's on here. It's Martha Stewart Frosty Gingerbread pad. Here, this is what's left of the cover or the back. I don't see a date on this. But this is the pad that I used. And I've had it for a very, very, very long time. I would guess that this is probably maybe 2014 maybe pad. Anyway, so let me get into the project. So I had these little activity books that I ordered a long time ago when I was doing the Halloween sets. So I made these pockets again to hold the activity sets. And I've got 2 of those. I'm going to try to put everything back in this thing. Got 2 little kid sets. And I actually recycled these paper bags. They had stickers or something in them, and I kept the bags because it's free packaging that I can use. Then I used my Cricut, and I made these little, what is this, Play-Doh holders, and it says, "Have a delightful holiday." So these are cute to give to neighborhood kids, or favors for Christmas parties when you got a bunch of kids. And I've got 3 of those. I just tied it up with twine and did the tag with my print and cut feature. And then I've got some of the pocket tissues covers. I did this with my Cricut as well. I've got 3 of those. These are great little stocking stuffers. The Delightful Holidays, good stocking stuffer too. Then I had some paper that was big enough to do full-size card mats. This is a 5x7 card. So that one. This one had a border along the bottom for scrapbooking. And I thought it would be cute for a bottom of a card. It's another full mat. And these penguins I had in my stash already that I had done. These are colored with my blendy markers. So I go through and do on my mat. The process is I go through, I see what I've got full mats for, and then like the border mats, and then I let them sit aside. And as I get down to my scraps, if I've got anything to embellish with my scraps, I go back and I embellish them, and I go back through my stash and see what I can add to finish up the card. So luckily this entire Kill a Pad project, I didn't have any unfinished projects to complete later. Everything got completed, which is kind of rare. I usually have 1 or 2 things that I've got to wait until I can find a focal point for. Then I've got these double pocket tea holders. And these are made with 6x6. So I cut down the 12x12 into some 6x6 sizes so I could get some tea favors. And I got 6 of those. And I already had the tag in my stash previously. Like I said, this paper pad was really old, so I had already made tags way back when for Christmas one year. So I was glad I got to use those. And this stamp, I think it was called Tiny Tags by, what is it, Lawn Fawn? Okay, and then I had done these in the previous year as well. I used my Cricut and kind of, I don't think this was something that was already designed. I think I came up with this by myself. I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know if I did that or not. I might have took it from something else. I'm not sure. But I used the Cricut to cut the circle, or maybe I resized the circle to fit this. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it held something else and I resized it to fit. I used the Cricut to do all of that. I used that Cricut to do a little holder to make it look like an ornament. And then I did the print and cut tags and then tied it up with twine. And I think I've got 6 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. I think these just are so cute. The little ornament giveaways, little favors or stocking stuffers. And even though I'd done these like forever ago, I did open up a bag of a few of them just to see if it was fresh. And that dough was still so soft. I cannot believe it. These things are probably maybe 4 years old. Okay, and then I got down to the smaller pieces of paper. And these are 4x4. So I made some hot cocoa pouches with the straw. And these are like an old thing. Like, they've been doing these for craft fairs for a long time. And the ribbon was scrap ribbon that I had used in previous projects, or scrap still left over from when my neighbor basically gave me all of her stuff. I'm still working through that stuff she gave me. Then I was getting down to scraps, and this is where it gets fun and interesting, because you try to utilize as much of your paper as you can. And I had this card sketch. I really don't know what it's called. I know the abbreviation is there, but I'm not familiar with card sketches. I just went on Pinterest and found some that I thought could work with the scraps that I had, and then I tried to redo the measurements. This is for a 5x7 card, and I redid it for a A2 size card, which is 5.5 by 4.25. And I used some washi tape because I didn't have a whole lot of scraps this size that I wanted to utilize for this, because I wanted to use some of the scraps to do different tags and cards. So I used washi tape, which I've never used washi tape before on a craft, so that was fun. So I used that card sketch to recreate some cards. And I had these from Dollar Tree from forever ago, and some embellishments that I had. The dog's in there whining. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm setting these cards aside because I want to discuss something else with those. So hopefully I'll remember it and not just skip over them. So then we go to smaller size scraps. This is a 3x3 card, and I think it looks cute just by itself for like giving with a gift. I didn't want to add a snowflake to it or anything. It felt like I covered up a lot of the candy cane or the peppermint patties, so I'm gonna leave it just like that. Then, not so wide but really long, I found this little emery board cover that I got from Bourbon Creek Crafts, and I made double packs of these. The emery boards I got from Dollar Tree, and I thought that it matched really well to this card or this paper pad. Got 1, 2, and 3 of those. Okay, and still going with the long scraps, but not very wide, I'd made pencil packs. And I cannot remember where I got these from. Excuse me. These were done previously a few years ago when I did those delightful holiday things. I do not remember. This idea has been going around for a while, so I don't know who I originally got this from. But it's just a strip of paper, and then I just put the pencils in there from Dollar Tree, and the eraser also from Dollar Tree. Let's see how many I got of those. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of those. And I guess I was running out of pencils, or maybe these are from a different set. I'm not sure, but this set I did 3 pencils and 3 erasers. And it's actually a little bit shorter than, because I put the erasers on the side, so it's not as tall as the other ones. And I've still got a ton of pencils and a ton of erasers, so I don't know if I just picked up more when they went on clearance, or if I just snagged them all up at the same time and got tired of using them. But I still have a whole lot more that I could make for other projects. Pencils don't get bad, so I'm sure I'll use them later on. If these were not as tall, or was it as wide? Nope, it's not quite as wide as the pencil packs either. This is a bookmark that I made with the chipboard from the cover of the pad. So, like I said, even the cover got used up, and I showed you what was left at the beginning of the video when I was trying to find the name and the date that it was made. And it's got some scrap ribbon. These are really good for, like, when you've got the itty bitty little bits of ribbon that you can't do anything with. They're great for tags and bookmarks because it's just the right amount. And if you don't have enough to like thread it through, you could just staple it to the top. And I'll show you, I actually did that with embellishments that I'll show you when I get to there. Same width, but not very tall. These are the tags. I've got 2 of those of that size. They're double-sided. And then, same width, and these are the Bath and Body Works holders. I really should have made more of these, but I was getting down to the scraps and I didn't really think about it. So, I really wish I would have made more of them. I've got like 4 more of that scent. Alright, and then same width, but not so tall. I found, where did I get these from? I think I got these from Lyric Lover Crafts. Amber on Lyric Lover Crafts. She does these, what is this, chapstick holders? And she sells them at her craft fair. So I did a few of those. I got 6 of them, I believe. 6 seems to be the magic number. And all it is just scrapbook paper covering the solid color cardstock that I pulled from my stash. And it's got a little solid color cardstock holder on the inside that holds the chapstick. And it's also matted white on the inside so that they can write a message. In fact, I think I stamped a message on each of these. Let me see if I can open it up with one hand. I'd forgotten I'd done that. This ribbon was a clearance Christmas ribbon that I got. Yeah, so all of them have a little stamp thing that says Merry Wishes. And then they can write the to and from or a message on the other side. Okay, and what is next? Okay, these I need to set aside. Slide them over. Okay, so again, I had some scraps trying to find a way to use them, and I came across this card sketch, and this is actually a recent card sketch. That was just a month ago. So I used this, and I made these cards I made quite a few of those cards. I really like this sketch. This was a little too, excuse me. Pardon my yawn. This was a little too big to use with the sketch, so I like kind of catty cornered it so that it would look cute. And I actually like this versus the other ones more. And I put a little embellishments up top. So I didn't follow the sketch exactly, but it still works. And these I had in my stash previously. Again, I go ahead and I make my cards. I didn't previously mat that because it wasn't pattern paper. I did this when I was doing the sketch. So all of this was done. The only thing that wasn't done at the end was this and the banners. Because I embellish in this. I embellish at the very end when I get down to my bare minimum scraps. Because I never know what I can use. So I don't embellish the card as I'm making it. I do it at the very, very end. So I've got like my base card, basically. And then I go through and see what I can add with my stash to finish it up, like this. That was in my stash, and I just added that on there to finish the card up. And I still could stamp a sentiment right here. And if I had Christmas stamps, aside from those little tiny tags, I would have. Kind of hoping that I get some Christmas stamps for Christmas. I've hinted about it, but I don't know if it was too vague of a hint or not. So we will see. I really want to get some stamps that go along with some collections. I've started getting into like the Cartabella, the Doodlebug, and Echo Park, like how their little sets match. It's really exciting. So I'm hoping I get some stamps that match those collections. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired. Okay. So that is the sketch for those. Also, actually, I want to say something else about these. Most of these are not this size. The reason why I like this sketch is because the ones that were actually that size, I used for the like lipstick covers, like that. I cheated. There is like a gap in between this. So it's like a little strip of paper and then like this size strip. And all of this underneath this is empty. So it looks like it's a solid piece, but it's really not. And if you looked closely at some of them, you'll see that the pattern doesn't exactly line up. So yes, that's a way you can kind of cheat on cards. If you got a strip that goes across, you don't have to have full paper underneath it. Okay, and then I found this. Which one is it? This one. This sketch online, and I did these cards with those. Now this was a sketch that Bourbon Creek Crafts uses a lot, and she added a little triangle inside a triangle, which isn't actually on the sketch, but I really liked it as a way to use some of those tiny scraps. So I followed her example and did that. And I've had a hard time trying to find a way to use these kind of embellishments. I don't really know how to use the teardrops very well. I thought maybe like in each corner would be a good idea, but then I thought this looked kind of cute. So I don't know really how to use the teardrops. I've got a bunch of teardrops and I don't really know how to use it. So there's that one. And that one. And that is all I got from that because it didn't have a whole lot of this 1 3/4 size. And then I had some that was the same width or a little bit smaller in width that were just the right size for tags. So I made this tag set, and it's held together by washi tape, so when you go to take it off, it won't damage it because washi tape is not sticky at all. So like I said, this is the first time that I've ever used washi tape, and now I know why people hoard it, because it is just so universal that you can hold things together, you can use it for decorating, you can use it as actual tape. So there's the tags, and then this sketch here, I found this one that uses smaller squares, because again, getting smaller and smaller as I use my scraps. This is a solid color from my stash, and then those are the smaller scraps that I had. And again, I need some kind of a Christmas saying here, and I could go on the Cricut or the printer and do something. I'm so sorry. I could print something out and cut it, but I think I'm going to leave it like it is. I might go back later on if they don't get a whole lot of interest and add more to it. Okay. And then this didn't have a sketch, but I think it was Bourbon Creek Crafts that did this. I don't actually have the sketch. I'm sure there is a sketch like this, but I just followed her example and made these. So like, I think they're not 1 inch. What size are these? 1.5 maybe? No, I'm not sure what size these are. They're not 1 inch. They're like slightly bigger than that. So like not too big to do the other card sketches, but too small to do most of your 1 inch size squares. So I just did the base card and I finished it up with a penguin at the very end when I was going through my stash for embellishments. And this is what I do when I get down to like my 1 inch scraps. Usually you need 1 inch by 3 inch, so you have to have some length to it. But this is a solid color cardstock backing, and these are the Hershey nugget holders, and I only have 1 set of these, I believe. There might be 2 sets in there. Might actually be 3. I didn't separate them out like I did with my other pattern paper. I just stuck them all in one since I didn't have the Hershey nuggets to add to it yet. Okay, then those little strips weren't quite big enough for the Hershey nuggets, so I made little scrappy cards, and again it just kind of covered up the little gap that I had in there since it wasn't quite big enough to fill in a full 3x3 mat. Had some circles already punched out, and I had the deer already punched out, and I don't know where that punch is. I'm sure it's in a craft stash somewhere in the garage. I need to dig it out because it goes, I thought I could use it more for like hunting and Father's Day, but I don't. I only use it for Christmas, so it really needs to go in with my Christmas decorating stuff because I separate my craft stuff out by season. Another scrappy card wasn't quite big enough for a mat. You can see how the images don't even line up. And then I put the strip down and more decorating from my stash. Getting down to the bare minimums. Each little tiny strip here. All right, and then I literally was getting down to the strips. So, excuse me. So what I do when I get down to just strips, I put them inside the cards. So every single one of my cards has got like a strip of paper or some kind of decoration to like just try to use up the scraps so none of it goes to waste. So I did all that. Actually, no, I'm kidding. I didn't do that first. I did these first because these needed the longer strips and the ones inside the card didn't need them as long. So I did these kind of projects first, then I went back and did the cards. So these, because they took longer strips, I did those first. I just had a cardstock backing, a 4x4 solid color backing, and then I did the strips across, and then I just trimmed around it so that it would create a 4x4 scrappy piece of basically my homemade pattern paper. And I put them on, since it was big enough, I put them on another cocoa pouch. I need to add a straw to it. And then I went and I added the ribbon. So, and then that one was done. And then this one was a slightly smaller one, but it still fit. I think this was a 3 3/4 inch maybe. And then the back just has solid color cardstock. And I ran out of cocoa pouches, so this has got oatmeal in it. I don't know if I'm actually going to keep oatmeal in there. I'll probably get more cocoa pouches and put it in. Another one of those scrappy cocoa pouches with my little penguin from my stash. And then we're getting down to the smaller bits. I didn't quite have as long of strips to do like 4x4s, so I started using I think this is a 2x3 card, note card, and I did these. And one of the mats, where is it? This is why I put these cards aside. So I originally started out